Seemingly a world away from the Balkans, his most fervent supporter lives on a farm near the New South Wales town of Coffs Harbour.
Ooh, that's it.
Well, I first made contact with him indirectly through my father. And my dad would always say, you know, he's a man of honour, he's someone that I respect. This is the photograph that I carried in my wallet for 15 years.
Nada Lukic-Bruce was a social worker from the Serbian community who met Captain Dragan in jail, fell for him and married him.
A man of discipline. He was a professional as far as a soldier was concerned. This talk about him being a war criminal is just absolutely ridiculous. I love the man, but so does the Serbian people. And I think that's the bond that links us more than anything, in that the fight for justice, the fight for truth, and the fight to fairness, you know, to be Australian, to have a fair go.
The fight to free Captain Dragan has become the fixation of Australia's Serbian community.
Serbs for Justice arose out of a crisis when Captain Dragan was arrested.
Its fundraisers have contributed $500,000 to his legal defence. And Dragan Vasiljković has had his victories. Last September, almost 4 years after his arrest, the full bench of the federal court found that if Dragan Vasiljković was returned to Croatia, he would not get a fair trial, that there was substantial or real chance of prejudice. Captain Dragan was a free man.
Well, as an innocent man, after spending 4 years incarcerated with the convicted criminals without any charges, any convictions, or any even superficial evidence against me, disgusted. However, thank God there are still some honest judges around, and their unanimous decision to have me released.
In Sydney, he was feted by his community, as he once was in Belgrade.
Ladies and gentlemen, I truly thank you for standing by me in the past 4 years. 4 years on a death row. The justice system has ruled that the state of Croatia has a corrupt justice system.
And always with him in spirit, the leaders of the Serbian Orthodox Church.
We thank God for all of those who have given their time, their monies, and their valiant efforts in securing the release of our honored and esteemed guest for this evening, Captain Dragan.
But the triumph of Dragan Vasiljković was short-lived. In March, the High Court overruled the decision. After a few months of freedom, he was back in jail again, facing extradition. What fate awaits him in Croatia?
He will not be treated fairly, and there'll be some accident. Oh, poor thing, they shot him. He was trying to escape. What rot. If the minister does make the decision to extradite him, we will continue to appeal.
Dragan Vasiljkovic's desperate quest for freedom has taken many turns. The extradition bid was launched by then Croatian Justice Minister Vesna Skerios-Bolt, a woman Vasiljković supporters accuse of launching a witch hunt. It's a matter that's become deeply personal.
Captain Dragan wrote a series of letters to you. He said to you that he's no more a war criminal than you are a whore.
When you are a public person, then when you get such a letter, you can't do anything, I mean.
So what do you think of a man that would say that?
Primitive style.
Basically, he called her a whore. And I said to him, why did you say that? And he says, well, Nada, it's the truth.
What did he mean by that?
In that she is a whore.
What, she's promiscuous?
Well, what's your meaning of a whore?
Dragan Vasiljković saw it as his military mission to train Serbian fighters, and over the years, several thousand men and women came under his influence. But there are claims against Captain Dragan that go beyond the Croatian extradition warrant. They involve his exploits in neighbouring Bosnia and the town of Zvornik.
Dragan Vasiljković admits he came to Zvornik. His story is that he arrived not wearing military gear, but civilian clothes. He said he was here to open a local branch of his charity. But local Bosnian Muslims have a very different version of events, and their stories are shocking.
It was 1992, and Bosnian Muslims were being driven out of their towns and homes in what the international community would come to regard as ethnic cleansing. Thousands would be murdered. In the chaos, a woman speaks to the camera.
Jamila Subasic would claim that 2 months later she was captured by Serbs and held in a rape camp. This is her today. She's a broken woman who says she can never recover from the ordeal.
I zašto? Znači nema dana, nema noći, nema jutra, nema momenta jednog da ja o tome ne razmišljam.
During operations in Bosnia, it's claimed Captain Dragan and his men stayed in this hotel in the town of Zvornik. Jamila Subasic says she and other women were being held prisoner elsewhere and were taken to the hotel to be sexually assaulted. She says she was raped by Dragan Vasiljković on 6 or 7 occasions.
Onda ja njemu kažem kao molim te nemoj me reko dirat. Eto ubij me sad, ali me nemoj dirat. Reko na Liplju, ja sam njemu rekla da sam silovana, već na Liplju bila. A on kaže, pa gdje može jedan Srbin, mogu svi.
I showed her a photograph of Dragan Vasiljković.
Jeste, tu je kapetan Dragan što je mene silovao. I ne samo mene, nego mnoge žene.
She also recognises another man from the photo who called Captain Dragan the Prince.
On mi je rekao da imam čast da me princ izabru za sebe.
Jamila Subasic claims she and others saw the bodies of Muslim men floating in the river below. She claims they'd been murdered in the hotel basement.
On je došao te 4. noći, sav krvav i nož u rukama je nosio. Otišao je tamo da se opere i kaže, ja smijem mu pripti riječ njegovu. On kaže, jebat ćemo vam majku svima, sve ćemo vas pobiti, neće niko ostati živ, nećete preživjeti da možete pričati.
Their claims Dragan Vasiljković strenuously denies. Support for the former paramilitary leader seems to have no bounds to this day in modern Serbia. Even royalty rallies to his cause.
A lot of us will go out of our way not to fall out with our neighbour.
Her Royal Highness Princess Linda of Serbia. Her father-in-law was the last king of Yugoslavia. Of American and English origin, she met her husband Prince Tomislav while he was in exile in the United Kingdom.
My husband, actually, who travelled extensively through the war zones and the remote areas of Krajina and Bosnia and so on, he actually, I remember he used to tell me about Captain Dragan as someone who he felt had great integrity.
But Captain Dragan was accused of raping a woman in Zvornik. Do you think that actually happened?
What would he want to go and rape someone for when he had potentially all the prettiest girls in Serbia there? You know what I mean? And I know, I used to watch the women when he would appear at something, and the women just, I think they would have, the unmarried ones, of course, not attached, I'm sure, you know. But I never got the impression he was that sort of character at all.
In Belgrade's Orthodox Cathedral, they've prayed more than once in support of the man they see as a victim of a great injustice. Dragan Vasiljković was never accused of war crimes in The Hague, and his campaigners say the Croatians have not supplied any evidence to Australian officials in support of his extradition. Captain Dragan's spiritual guiding father, Peter Lukic, can only attest to the character of the man he knows.
A život nije bio prema njemu baš naklonjen, ali se on izborio i našao svoj put do Gospoda Boga. Možda bi trebalo da znaju organi vlasti u Australiji i australijski građani koji to prate, da kapetan Dragan nije samo bio dobar vojnik, a ja ću da kažem i častan vojnik.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven.
If anybody met Daniel, if anybody would sit and talk to him and see the man that he is, they would see that he is not a war criminal, that he would never have committed any offences against Geneva Convention. Never. So where is the fair go for Daniel? Where is justice for Daniel?
It's now very much a tourist town on the Croatian coast, but the port of Šibenik may well be jolted back to its recent bloody past. The local court could well be the venue for the trial of Dragan Vasiljković if Australia decides to send him back. It will be a case closely scrutinised by the international community. Dragan Vasiljković will be tried by a judge alone and be able to call his own witnesses.
Nobody can have any fear that trial will be political. It will be a very honest trial. These crimes were committed in Croatia, and it will be in Croatia. It will be very, very professional trial.